Guys, we are moving on to number 11. Well, I guess number 9 in the college football playoff ranking. Sorry, the graphic is the AP poll rankings. I made these before the actual playoff rankings came out, so they're a little bit outdated. But number 9 in the college football playoff rankings, Ole Miss traveling to Gainesville to play none other than the Florida Gators. Now, Florida, you don't if you haven't been keeping up with them, right? Very weird football team. Their team in and of itself is 5-5, 3-4 in conference play. They came out and said that they are not firing Billy Napier and that he's going to be the head coach moving forward, which I think is a weird kind of call out, anyways. But DJ Lagway's back. That's good. He played last week. They upset LSU. It was a big deal. But they come into this game at home as 10.5-point underdogs to Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, who's sitting pretty right now inside the top 12 for the college football playoffs. Quinn, before I let you go, I want to give Chase's prediction here because for those of you who don't know, we named 3 bold takes. We have another guy. His name's Chase. He's traveling this week, so he'll be back next week. But he's a huge Lane Kiffin fan, loves Ole Miss. He's picking Florida in this game. And he hates to say it, and I'm just going to straight up read what he said because I think it's great. Gosh, I hate to say it, but this is a trap game, and Lane Kiffin's about to get caught. He loves what Florida is with DJ Lagway. He's got a great arm, and he plays well above freshman status. He thinks they're going to build off of what happened last week against LSU, and he thinks that Florida's motivated for the first time in forever, and it's going to be a weird, wild environment down there for this game. Quinn, are you in agreement, or is this just not even close to being a trap game?
I think on paper it's a trap game, and I think if you just like are really fiending for the idea of something clearing up the SEC, then you want it to be. The reason I'm not buying this as a trap game, and I'm picking Ole Miss to win, is as of right now, Lagway is limited in his ability to run. He looked great throwing the ball through the air on LSU. Congratulations. LSU's defense is not very good. Ole Miss's defense, however, is insanely good, and their ability to pressure the quarterback is probably their biggest strong suit of their entire defensive structure. I do not like the matchup for Florida offensively against this Ole Miss defense. And I think there's always the possibility, like if you follow inside SEC storylines, the Swamp's a hard place to play, and Ole Miss is notorious for choking late and ruining abilities to like have memorable seasons. Think Ole Miss losing that game to Brett Bielema, Arkansas, in like 4 overtimes when they had a clear path to winning the West for the first time ever in like 2015. So it happens. I just don't think it's this weekend. I think there's a lot to build on for Florida. I think they make this game close. I do think that will be a very high possibility for this game. I think they're almost all but guaranteed to win the Sunshine Showdown next weekend and get bowl eligibility. But I am not picking them to beat Ole Miss. Give me the Rebels by, I'm going to say 8. So I guess that means Florida covers.
Yeah, exactly what that means. And Quinn, I'm glad you brought that up about Florida being bowl eligible. Coming into this season, right? There were talks that Florida was not going to make a bowl game, and this would have been their 4th losing season in a row, which at the University of Florida is unacceptable at any point in time, right? So glad that Billy Napier has been able to kind of rally around his team and rally his team around him as well. And I'm glad that they finally did turn to DJ Lagway, although it had to be of injury of Graham Mertz. Sometimes that's what has to happen, right? Sometimes you have to have that injury and have the reason to put in the young kid or the guy that you want to start. But he may not have the full grasp of the offense, things of that. Like there are different things that can coincide with that. This is a classic trap game. I love Florida. I'm rooting for a close game here. I think it'll be extremely close. In fact, I think Florida probably leads for a majority of this game. But I think Ole Miss and their defense is going to step up toward the end of the fourth quarter, and really, really make an impact in this game. Um, what Ole Miss was able to do to Georgia defensively was very impressive, and something that Ole Miss has lacked over the past 3 or 4 years, even when they have 10-win seasons. That's the reason why they can never beat Alabama or Georgia. And it was always because they did not have the big guys up front. Finally, they have a dominant defensive line, and some really good secondary pieces as well. And I think they show out toward the end of this game. Um, Offensively, I think Ole Miss is going to struggle early on. I think the environment is going to play a factor in it. Quinn, I know you downplay Florida's home field advantage, but they have a really good win percentage at home since 2000. Now, say that for what you want, but there's
Just
something
cherry,
about playing down there.
just cherry pick out all the decades before 2000 where Florida was a bottom feeder of the SEC and they have a great home record. Yeah.
Hey, hey, it doesn't matter, okay? Because the swamp is the swamp now. It may not have been the swamp then. The environments can change, and when
That's
the
fair.
swamp became the swamp, as we know today, I think it's gotten better. But I think Ole Miss wins the game. I think it's very tight. I think they win by probably 4 points here. I think Florida's going to give a run for their money, and Quinn, you're exactly right. They're going to beat the snot out of Florida State next week, and they are going to get bowl eligible. And it'll be Billy Napier's first bowl game as a Florida head coach. So congratulations there.
Real quick, not to take away from the main point of this video, which is two of the three of us are taking Ole Miss and Chase is on his Gator bait again. But we would you agree? I know I said as the resident Florida hater for the last 2 years on this show, um, I said 6 or 7 wins would be insanely impressive for where Florida is right now. Getting bowl eligible with the schedule they drew this year would be insanely impressive. So honestly, I think you could make an argument to me that Billy Napier staying was the right move.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that they should have fired him. Um, but when they fired Dan Mullen because of lack of recruiting, and Billy Napier is worse than Mullen at recruiting, it kind of makes you scratch your head a little bit. Like Mullen had top 10 recruiting classes. Florida's currently, I think, in the 40s in the country. So
That's fair.
that would have been a reason. However, the on-field play is very impressive. I'll give you that. It is very impressive.
Well, it's less impressive than Dan Mullen's career, though.
That is true. That is
like,
true. Making
I still don't
SEC
understand
titles
why
and a
they,
win away from the playoffs. I 100% agree.
I still don't understand why they got rid of Dan Mullen, but this isn't that. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ole Miss winning
Ole,
this game.
Ole Miss is going to win this game. Chase has got Florida. Guys, thanks for watching and listening to our spiels. Remember, the channel is sponsored by SeatGeek. Use our code 3BoldTakes. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. Link is in the description for that. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. We've got 5, 6, 7 of these coming out this week. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you guys next week as well.